Last week, we shared exactly what it costs us to live on a boat, and Chris finished another project. We were preparing for another northerly blow to come through, and it came through fast and quick. They're dragging too.
Who's?
This guy. What's that guy doing?
That guy's dragging behind me?
Yeah. Is this guy okay? Ask him, are you okay?
He's fine.
Chris, answer this guy too. He's looking at you.
No, I'm right here, Dad. I know it.
Oh no, look at that other sailboat over there too.
No.
That other one's dragging too. That one's dragging and Enno's dragging. He's powered up.
He's been powered up. He's just trying not to foul his... He needs to get in front. He needs to get their chain out the water.
And he's oh my gosh, and that troller's dragging too.
The only people who aren't dragging is us and dragging Phyllis. As well as all these...
So there's what, like 6 boats dragging?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, at least 5. And there's boats over there we can't see that are probably dragging.
Yeah, that troller's coming in. And this poor guy, what is he thinking? He needs to just get to land and just wait this out.
Did Anno get his anchor up? Or is he dragging it?
He's just driving into it. He's gonna hit this other guy.
I think he'll miss him.
Yeah, but does he not? He's not even up at the helm. Does he not know?
There's also something called a lower helm.
He's down there.
Oh no, and this guy.
Why are they dragging like that?
Because the wind makes the boat pushing it sideways. That's when you need the biggest sail.
And that Boston whaler, he's made no progress at all. He needs to just go to land. This guy's underway. He's at least he pulled up his anchor and he's underway. That guy hasn't drug for weeks.
Careful he doesn't foul his problem.
Patience, he's already up aground.
What's that boat over there? Power boat.
He's literally staying.
Oh, that powerboat ran aground too.
No, I think he's always there.
No, because he's totally he's in the mangroves rocking. Do you see him?
And at least he's not.
Thanks, Rebecca. Way to make us smile.
Drag it.
That's
You
the
see that
front.
boat way over there, blue chip too? I wonder if he's dragged. I think he's not in the rain.
Okay, now that trawler's fully under power right now.
Still there. Look, again, all these old guys.
He's still trying to pick up his anchor and
Yeah.
his boat. So the other guy moved into the channel and looks like he's almost side tied in front of our friend's boat, in front of Osprey.
Okay.
The little guy.
Okay.
He's up in front of Osprey in that little channel.
Okay. And then this guy is just on the front of his sailboat.
He's just watching.
Yeah.
Giving direction to them.
The waves actually look pretty nice.
It's pretty wavy.
I'm grabbing my camera.
We are a family of 5 from Texas who sold everything to live full-time on our 1987 Marine Trader Tradewinds 47. We have 3 boys, Carter, Chase, and Caleb. We also have 2 cats aboard, Cheddar and Tiger. For 2 years, we have enjoyed cruising, exploring, beautiful sunsets, loads of family fun, and brotherly bonding. We also enjoy exploring the water, snorkeling, and diving. In the Florida Keys, the Bahamas, and who knows where to next. We want to say a special thank you to all of our patrons.
To northwest. Weather will continue to deteriorate throughout the night. All bidders are requested to transit the air with caution. Break. This is the United States Coast Guard Second Kilo out.
Deteriorating weather throughout the night. That's always fun. So this is a steady 33 mile an hour wind with gusts up to 40. At one point a few minutes ago, about 15-20 minutes ago, it spiked at about 45 miles an hour, 43, 45 miles an hour. A day and a half to 2 days of this.
That other guy's got to be dragging again. He's sideways again.
Primary anchor is pulling out. He's doing something, trying to sort something out.
Captain, this is the Coast Guard 16. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to throw you a line, and then as I get you out of here, pick up the anchor. You're going to throw a line, and when you get us down, Captain, this is the Coast Guard. You got steps on. Take in your GPS precision, and what's the name?
I'm going to run Dad over to the sailboat next to us.
Okay.
Carter, untie the line from there.
Put your life jacket on.
Saying that this is the Coast Guard. Can you get us to your office?
Hold on to that line just a second.
There's so much going on right now. We're going to go take Chris over to go help another vessel who's dragging and needing some help. We are soaked. I dropped Chris off. Carter came with me. Chris is up there now. Chris is up helping them hold their anchor.
You're loose. Your anchor's at the water line. Okay? I'm going forward.
Oh, Hannah. Oh my God, Chris. Please be careful. Oh my God, Chris.
Good Friday morning to everybody. It has been quite an afternoon. We had a 45 mile an hour front come through.
Hold on, stop. Welcome to Talking from our aft.
Should we start over?
No, it's fine. Let's go for it. It's a little different today though because we're not sitting and it's, yeah. So go ahead.
If we're moving like this and you get seasick, sorry. It's just the way the boat is.
Yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
That's all right. So we're in our anchorage here still in Islamorada, and we had a wind shift and a front come through from the west-northwest and blow everybody this direction. We watched 6 boats drag. We watched 3 of them end up aground.
Yep.
There was a collision with another boat that's tied up in the marine over there that's a friend of ours.
And it was like a hit and run, actually.
Yeah, so they're figuring out, the sheriff or FWC trying to figure out where they're at. Luckily, I remember the name of the boat. But craziness.
So the very front of a storm, when it comes through, it brings like the low pressure, sucks it in, and then it throws it back out, so you get the biggest, strongest winds at the front. It's going to be all night for like 24 hours, sustained winds of like 33 knots.
Yeah.
And it spiked up around 45 knots.
So this was our, let's see if I can show you this. This is the wind graft of the front coming through.
So what does that mean, though? Explain it a little bit.
So we had the blue line, the middle line is sustained winds, and so we had sustained winds at 35, gusts up to 45, and the lulls were like 28. So even when it was a lull, it was still blowing 28 miles an hour.
28 knots.
No, this is miles an hour.
Miles an hour, okay. So knots are always just a smidgy bit less than miles an hour. So if we say it's 35 knots, maybe it's 37, 38, 39 miles per hour.
Yeah, I think it's like 10% or something.
Okay, so what do we do to prepare for a storm? How do we prepare?
We make sure that nobody anchors in front of us. We go door to door on every boat and we ask them to move. Just kidding.
Unfortunately, there were boats anchored in front of us and 2 trawlers drug.
I wish I could do that, but we honestly we pay a lot of attention the day before as people, because when there's a blow, people come into the anchorage, they're looking for shelter, which is interesting because the direction this blow was going to come, we were wide open.
There's no protection for us from this direction.
I don't know what people were expecting, but same thing we always see. People throwing out undersized anchors. They set an anchor going this direction, knowing the wind's going to twist them this way, and they've got a fortress or some anchor that doesn't reset well.
These trawlers, both of them that drug, the 2 trawlers that drug by us, they both had 2.
Well, they both had one out, and then while they're dragging, their solution was to throw another anchor out, which they seemed to just foul each other up even more.
It seems like a good idea, but
yeah.
we've never seen it work well in real life storms. So if you're really in a storm, don't do that.
Not that we've seen. I understand how to use. Your dad's calling. Let me decline him.
Yeah.
So I understand how to use multiple anchors and the theory behind it, but I haven't seen anyone in practice actually set them properly. So that they actually work.
And I will say, in their defense, the 2 trawlers that drove by us, they were both cruising single-handedly.
Yep. So that makes it tougher. But if you're going to cruise single-handed, you set your boat up. I've seen people do it.
Yeah, we've seen many
people do it. You got
do
to set
it.
your boat up. So.
Okay, and then you still go back to what's your number 1 favorite anchor?
I love the Mantis. We're on a Mantis. The trawler, our friends from Canada that are in the Muskoka knots, they're anchored in front of us. And I love that they're in front of us because they have a Mantis. Neither one of us moved an inch.
We've never drug all winter long.
No, and we've done circles on our anchor, and it's never resets. It's always perfect.
We were also going to talk about weather apps and what we use.
So that wind graph that you saw that I just showed you was called Wind Alert. But I paid for the pro version because for work I can go ahead and get actual live updates at Alligator Lighthouse, which is the lighthouse that we work at.
Yeah.
So that's nice. But there's Wind Finder, there's Predict Wind, there's Windy. We've got a weather app as far as like the Weather Channel. I've got a lightning app. I've got a radar app called My Radar. The lightning one is really nice because it alerts me if there's lightning in the area.
I use Weather Kitty and Fox 4 Weather app from Texas.
The WAP.
And I use Predict Windy, and I use Wind Finder, the not paid for version, the free version, which still tells me the predicted winds.
No,
and
I don't use Wind Finder. I have Wind Finder.
I use Wind Finder because I'm able to actually put markers down, and I can see the wind at like Molasses Reef, Alligator Reef, Sombrero Reef.
Well, Wind Finder doesn't do Alligator. That's why I pay for Alert. Wind Alert does.
It does, but it's not live.
Yeah, I get the live one.
It's the predicted, what was predicted.
So, lots of options. We also pay attention to the weather. We know what's happening. We're always looking because of our job and living on the boat. We're always paying attention to weather. So I have to share a story or something that just happened. We have friends on a boat over here to our starboard side, and they have a Rockna, which is another decent brand. I tell you, I still like my Mantis better, but it's similarly designed, and they have all chain, which is another big thing. Having a good anchor, lots of chain, I don't like rode. I don't like when you use rope because it just doesn't give you the weight to hold the boat. But they had reset the other day because they felt like they had an issue. They reset, and then when the storm came, they turned and they started to drag. And he did a lot of things right. They fired it, and when he saw the blow coming, he just was a little bit uncomfortable because they're newer boaters. He fired up his engine and he was ready. Storm blow through because the front is always the worst. It spiked up to 45 and then it came down, and now we're sustained in the low 20s.
Low 20s?
Yeah,
Easily 25.
25. That's low 20s. So, and at that point you just station keep. You drive into the wind.
Yeah.
And you just try not to drive over your anchor. You don't want to be dragging it, or you don't want it to foul your prop. And so he was just station keeping, making sure he wasn't dragging anymore backwards, but he wasn't driving over. He did that for, what, about 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it seemed like a long time.
And then they just weren't able to get their anchor up there, having issues. And so I went over there to help them. We got it up, and that sucker was fouled with, looked like this piping you've got behind Carter here. There was a piece of that was curved, and it was probably 6 or 8 feet long. It was like somebody's T-top on their center console had broke, and they just threw it over.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, and it was a big piece. And so there was nothing that they did wrong. They just happened to catch or
In a
set
really bad spot.
in a spot where there was a piece of debris. They set fine, but then when the boat turned with the wind, it like wrapped it around, the chain around it like 3 times. And at that point it fouled it, and there was no resetting it until they got that cleared. So we had to pull the anchor along with this piece of debris up on their deck and untangle it. It was just a mess. But they're reset now and everything's good. So not just because a boat's dragging doesn't necessarily mean you've done something wrong. But of all the people that drug today, I saw most of them pull up what I would consider undersized anchors, old, poorly designed anchors for being, overnight. They're day anchors. And most of them were fouled with a lot of seagrass, which some people say that's not their fault if it's fouled with seagrass, but you choose where you drop your anchor and you choose what type of anchor. And both of those can affect. Like my anchor holds just fine in seagrass.
Okay, so if you're dragging, what do you do?
Just like our friends, you try to fire up your engines and you turn into the storm and you put your nose into the wind and you station keep. If we were dragging, we would get fired up, get straightened out, and then I would have Jolene or Carter at the helm, station keeping, making sure we're staying where we need to go, and I'd be up front at the anchor directing them, go here, come forward some more, stop, and while I'd be pulling anchor. Once we pull anchor, we'd readjust to where we want to go, and reset and drop back and set the anchor. That's what you should do.
Now,
we saw multiple people throw out a second anchor, and it didn't work for any of them.
Well, because they were all undersized,
Well,
so it doesn't matter. You're dragging as fast as your cruising speed.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if you can see this trawler in the distance over here. Anyway, there's a trawler right over there. He's aground. He's about the same, maybe a little smaller than our boat, and he had 2 anchors out and was dragging with 2 anchors.
And he was station keeping for a while.
Yeah.
And then I thought he caught.
It's the whole single-handed trying, because I don't know that he had. When he threw his second anchor, I don't think it was attached to his windlass. So if he could pull his first anchor with a windlass with a control, but as soon as he throws the second one, now he has to manually pull that while trying to drive the boat at the same time single-handedly.
And you might think, oh, well, it's a small anchor. It's only like 30, 40 pounds. Well, when you've got 30, 40 knots of wind against you.
Not just that, you've got 10 pounds of seagrass.
And you've got storms blowing you just kind of panic and stress out. So
Yeah, it's tough to do. So, again, I can't emphasize enough. Get yourself some good ground tackle. Understand how to use it. Set your systems up. The other thing is understanding when the wind blows, how to do it. And what I mean by that is Jolene knows how to drive the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, because I don't have a windlass right now, she can't physically lift a 105-pound anchor with all the stuff going on.
Oh, now I can hold things if I need to.
If there was a kid underneath that anchor,
Yeah.
she could get it off.
Yeah. But I don't want.
But she knows how to drive the boat, and Carter can also drive the boat when we're pulling anchor. When I have the windlass working, which I need to get that rebuilt, I can drive it, and any of us can actually pull the anchor at that point.
Yeah.
And they understand how to push the button and wait until we drive over the top, and it's straight up
Yep.
and down. But practicing that, talking through the scenarios with your crew and your kids and your spouse, and making sure everybody's comfortable with that. That makes a huge difference.
And if you're single-handed, those guys should have chosen a different anchorage. There are better anchorages than this one for north below.
If you're just trying to get protection, yeah, this is not a great one.
We stay here because it's just where we are, and the main reason we stay here is we assume if we have to for some reason be on land and get back to our boat, this is the closest place from where we parked to get back to our boat, and I'd rather have a shorter dinghy ride in this kind of condition than
I'm gonna give you a
Yeah. And,
the boys are playing with the cats.
and we're comfortable. We're okay in these conditions. We've been in them. We have a good anchor. We trust it, and thus far it's proven its worth. I would.
Come here.
Oh, it's kind of. What do you got there?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Okay. We're playing with Cheddar and
Cat
Tiger.
fur and a mustache.
All right, guys.
Thanks again
maybe-
for watching.
Maybe you're tired of us sharing these stories, but it's never ending, and these happen all the time. You hear about stories in the Bahamas of people dragging anchor during a blow. When you're living on a boat, if you want to do this, and you're going to be on anchor, dealing with a blow, storm front that comes through is a big deal.
Common.
You got to understand how to do it.
Don't ever think for a second though that, oh, I'm only gonna cruise in fair weather and calm seas. I will always be protected. You can't. A storm front will still come through.
Yeah, there'll be
Always.
something that happens, mechanical failure. The marinas are full. You won't be able to get in. You didn't make as good a time. The storm front was moved ahead of schedule.
That's the big one.
Something's gonna get you.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to drop some more comments and questions. You got some good questions off our last one, right?
Yep, I
We'll
got some
probably
good
talk
questions.
about next week.
Yep.
So thank you, and remember,
Enjoy the journey.
I think he was waiting for that.
I was. I live for waiting for that. You're